What is up, my gamers? We're back with a new patch. I was not here when the patch dropped, but I'm here now, and let's get it. So, new ancient relics, dowsing rod and Neow's sacrifice. The dowsing rod, I think both of these are extremely fun. For the dowsing rod, upon pickup, you add dowsing, which is a quest, to your deck, and after entering 5 question mark rooms, it transforms into abundance. Abundance is a 1-cost skill that lets you choose from one of 3 powers to add to your hand, and it's free to play, and it exhausts. I think that Dowsing Rod is extremely fun to use. I don't think it's that good to use. 5 question mark rooms is a lot of question mark rooms. I think very often when you click Dowsing Rod, you're going to end up not getting abundance until you're in Act 2, which means you probably need to take a quest. This is basically a curse. You probably need to take a curse through like 2 elites and an Act 1 boss. It feels like a lot for abundance. And abundance is very good. Don't get me wrong. Abundance is very good, but you're definitely not... Like, you can take a safe Act 1 maybe, but I don't think abundance is strong enough to justify a safe Act 1. But I think this is very fun. I love to slam this and just send it, you know, and put it in RNG's hands. Neow's sacrifice, on the other hand, this is kind of similar to the dowsing rod in that instead of 5 question mark rooms, this is 5 combats. And this is different because guilty gets removed from your deck so much quicker. You're guaranteed a combat for your first encounter, and you can just kind of roll into your 3 easy pool fights. Do like 1 hard pool fight or 2 hard pool fights. And guilty's gone from your deck. I wouldn't even go out of my way to avoid an elite before removing the guilty. I just kind of like Ambergris. This is so much healing, and the extra turn is so significant. You can kind of just take a really intense Act 1 and get a ton of value out of it. Or like, this is just kind of an insane potion. I can't imagine saving this for like end game unless you get a potion belt, but like you can just kind of use this potion to... This is Lizard Tail, 50% of your max HP, and this is take an extra turn. It's kind of crazy. I respect the Neow sacrifice so much, and I think it's just really fun to play with. Diadem nerfed. You no longer get the, when you play 2 cards fewer in a turn, you take half damage. Now you get 20 block, and block is not removed at the start of your turn. This is all right. I haven't played with it, but I don't think it's terrible. I'm probably not taking it often though. I think no nupe pe. Her relics are just so much better. Like she's got so many better options than this one, that I don't think this is my biggest consideration. Ouroboss's Sandcastle has been moved from Pool 1 to Pool 2. I think this is alright. Pool 1 mostly has, I think, card relics. Like, this is the, you get cards from another class pool. And so this is, it makes sense to kind of move the Sandcastle to the second pool, I feel. Darv's Blessing pool has been changed. Energy relics are more common. I kind of am a little bit sad about this change. I typically, with Darv, I'm going for like Pandora's Box, Runic Pyramid, Snecko Eye. Not often are the energy relics the most fun things or the most impactful or powerful things on Darv's pool, in my opinion. But an energy relic's very strong. So I think energy relics being more common. And I feel like more casual players can use an energy relic a lot better than the other options in Darv's pool. So I could see why this change is happening. Tank's meat cleaver, the HP decrease, I feel like this is justified. The big part of Tank's meat cleaver is the removals. You get a bunch of removes, you have a very efficient deck, and now your deck does something very consistently. The HP is not the big part of Tank's meat cleaver. This still feels extremely strong, I think. Toy box has been buffed from 4 to 5, but the thing with Toy Box is that these kind of go away over time. I think it's every 3 or 4 combats you lose one of these. You're probably not taking any of these into the final Act 3 fight. So I don't know. I don't think Toy Box is going to be that good. Like, you're probably just taking the max amount of elites in full farming Act 2 anyways, with, like, all of Tez Katara's other options. Toy Box just kind of needs a rework, I think. Like, maybe Tez Katara's Toy Box only burns up, like, 3 relics and you get to keep 2 or something. I don't know. Maybe that's not even a good rework. Maybe this should be more close in... Because, like, Pale has Pale's Wing, which lets you get extra relics by skipping card rewards. And Ouroboros has Driftwood, which lets you, like... I feel like Tez Katara doesn't really have... I guess there's the Golden Path. But the Golden Path doesn't really forego power in exchange for more power. Even though it kind of does, you know? There's maybe an idea of something where with Tez Katara where you could forego power in exchange for power, like future power, like a Black Star from Darv or something like that. Fiddle buff, absolutely insane. They probably need to revert this. I played with the 3-card fiddle. Dude, I have card draw in my deck. I don't even care that I have card draw in my deck, dude. 3-card fiddle? It's too much. That's too many cards. I feel like Vaku's fiddle's overtuned. I feel like people saw that you couldn't draw additional cards in their turn, and it's just an underused relic. But I think that it was just always strong, even if it's underused. And by making it 3 cards, it's just too strong, even if it's underused by the player base. Vaku, Suri, Talon, and Distinguished Cape have swapped downsides. I don't think I like this change. This is the Wishes. So Wishes now lose you max HP, and this is Apparitions. So Apparitions now come with 2 curses. I think that sometimes you get Bing Bong, and when I have Bing Bong, I don't want to get double curses. I don't really think like I ever need 6 wishes. I don't even think I need 3 wishes. Like, wishes don't have innate or anything crazy on them. They're kind of... Wishes are kind of comparable to the rare colorless cards that let you search your deck for cards. But they exhaust. I think that the Distinguished Cape change is going to hurt, because sometimes you do just take Apparitions. Like, sometimes you have Bing Bong, and you're like, 6 Apparitions on this fine day. Yes, that would be lovely. Thank you. But do I really want to take... Like, if I've got Bing Bong, and I'm looking at Apparitions, do I really want to take 4 curses? No. I don't think so. Aeon Glass nerf? I don't know if Aeon Glass needs any more nerfs. I feel like Aeon Glass is probably around... Like, Aeon Glass is getting closer to the other 2 every single patch. I don't know if they need to keep nerfing this bad boy. Torchhead Amalgam. I do think Queen was the weakest of the 3, but they've been buffing Torchhead like every patch here. I guess they're just going to keep buffing Torchhead until Queen has, like, a similar kill rate on the player as like Aeon Glass and test subject. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, but I feel like at 32 on Ascension 10, I'm probably taking a little bit of chip on turn 1. And this is 32 each time Torchhead starts again. I feel like that's quite a bit of damage. Nerfed History Course, kind of sad. Attacks are probably pretty strong still. Like, I'm thinking about Ironclad. Ironclad's got a ton of huge attacks that you want to replay. Regent has a bunch of huge attacks you want to play. Necrobinder has a bunch of huge attacks that you want to replay. This used to be really cool because you could use this to kind of repeat. A bunch of skills have very powerful one-time effects that they exhaust afterwards. So you could use this to repeat some of your strongest skills and just, not many attacks exhaust, so you're not getting like that same amount of value out of this, I think. Demon form buffed. I don't know if I like this buff. I feel like increasing the number on demon form feels a little bit crazy. I bet it's not taken as often. One of the reasons that demon form is probably a little bit underappreciated was that Dominate was so dominant in the regions, or in the Ironclad's card pool. So I think if you nerf Dominate, maybe Demon Form's just going to naturally be picked more. But even without nerf Dominate, I feel like Demon Form's just very strong. Like, you play a Demon Form with your Bloodletting, which you're not gonna be able to play Demon Form with Bloodletting because Bloodletting is now uncommon, so you're not like guaranteed to have one. But if you were able to play Demon Form, you probably just end the fight in a couple turns because you get a bunch of strength. Expect a Fight has been buffed. It no longer says you cannot gain additional energy this turn. Are we bringing back Infinites? This card should probably say something like, you can't play this card multiple times per turn or something. I can understand why they want this to be able to be comboed with like Bloodletting and other energy generation maybe. But like, this should probably still have something that doesn't allow you to just cycle a Expect a Fight. I don't know. Maybe Expect a Fight's not the biggest danger for Ironclad Infinites. I haven't played around with it too often. I think the rocks buff, the rock buff is insane, dude. Why are rocks 24 damage? I think this is probably fine. What I always want with like Primal Force is like turning rocks into rocks turns them into something different. Like, you turn a rock into a boulder, or you turn a rock, like, first you turn them into rocks, then you turn them into giant rocks, then you turn them into boulders. Something like that. I think that'd be a really cool design space for Primal Force. I think 24 is kind of a big number. I'm going to be honest. 24? That's kind of a big number. Taunt change. It's now common. I think that's fine. Taunt is just taking Bloodletting's place in uncommon. They're just kind of doing a swap there. I think they wanted to change the number too, just to make it feel like a common. 6/7's a funny number. Sometimes you take taunt because you need vulnerable, and you need a little bit of block. It sucks that we're losing out on the high end of block, because taunt did just have, like, 8 is kind of a nicer number than 7. Especially with how the rounding in the game works. Bloodletting definitely needs to be uncommon. Like, this is just such a strong card. Bloodletting being... I don't know if Bloodletting needs to be uncommon, but, like, Bloodletting being at common means that Ironclad just has extremely reliable energy generation in its base kit that you're almost guaranteed to get every single run. So it kind of sets it apart from the other classes besides Defect, because Defect is the only other character that has like Turbo, but Turbo has like its own huge downside. That Turbo comes with basically it's a status, right? Turbo comes with its status, so you lose energy and a card when you draw it. So I feel like Bloodletting being moved to common is a fair change. Cruelty and Dominate are swapping places. I feel like Dominate is so... I like that they're keeping the effects of Dominate on Dominate, because it's a really powerful card. And it should probably, with its power level, it should probably be rare. I feel like Cruelty being at uncommon feels a little bit crazy. Like, I don't know what other cards in the Ironclad's card pool they could put there besides Cruelty, but I feel like Cruelty at uncommon feels a little bit crazy. That feels OP. Although it's not unheard of. I mean, like, there's the card on Necrobinder that just buffs your damage for the first attack. So it's not unheard of, but it feels a little crazy. You're going to very consistently be able to get cruelties. I like the new Mirage rework. So instead of gaining block equal to poison on all enemies, now it costs 0, and next turn you get a little bit more energy. I think this is pretty significant, because outside of like Tactician and the slime mechanic, Silent really didn't have energy regen or energy generation, and poison just feels bad on Silent. So like them removing poison cards, like Mirage just kind of felt like a bad card to see, because I'm like, I'm never playing poison outside of like maybe a Noxious Fumes or an Envenom or something, right? Like I'm not playing hard enough into poison to ever make use of Mirage. So this is just a crazy energy generation thing for Silent. Reworked well-laid plans. This is kind of insane. So well-laid plans no longer lets you retain up to 2 cards at the end of your turn. It's now 0 cost Runic Pyramid. And it is a rare now, and it is also available in multiplayer. So I like this a lot because it's available in multiplayer. I think well-laid plans being a rare is fair, because it's probably one of the strongest cards in the game. But now it's like 0 cost Runic Pyramid. That's kind of crazy. I have played with this. It's not literally 0 cost Runic Pyramid. Oftentimes I don't even upgrade it because I don't care. It's just 1 cost Runic Pyramid. And I think there's a lot of rare cards that you're not necessarily instantly slamming a well-laid plans, but that's kind of crazy, dude. Well-laid plans is literally Runic Pyramid right now. That's crazy. I'm so excited whenever I see it. I like the new expertise change. This feels pretty good when I get this from transforms. Outbreak, I don't play poison on Silent that often. And like when I do, if I have Envenom, or like Outbreak's never something that you take before poison. Outbreak's something that like you have a bunch, like you have an Envenom, you have a Noxious Fumes, and then you see an Outbreak and you're like, oh, I can take an Outbreak. But it needs the setup. And then like I don't click Accelerant that often. I usually don't have enough poison in the deck that I would need an Accelerant. I think this feels better at uncommon, because Catalyst from the first game was uncommon, Accelerant being at rare. Poison does need a little bit more support, and I think this helps out Poison. Poison lost Mirage. So there's no, like, defensive poison card anymore. I feel like they should bring back, like, I don't know, something like Crippling Cloud or something. Maybe, like, a poison card that does, like, a little bit of poison, gives you a little bit of block. Because I don't think... Like, a lot of the strong poison cards, like, I think Crippling Cloud was insane. It was, like, 2 weak and, like, 7 poison or something when upgraded. It felt really good. Right now, I don't think there's any, like, poison cards. I like how Snakebite feels. I think poison could use a little bit of help. Reworked Pillar of Creation. Whenever you create a card, gain 3 block. Change to the first time you create a card each turn. Gain 5, upgraded to 7 block. I think this is an alright change. It feels a lot less of a nerf to Pillar of Creation. And a lot more of like a selective nerf to some of the cards that create cards. This feels like more of a guards nerf than the guards nerf was. So like they've nerfed guards a couple times, right? And guards is the card that it's 2 cost. You get to change any number of cards in your hand to guards, and you get to play guards and get a bunch of stuff. Guards used to just have stapled on like an extra 20 block or something when you change, because this is whenever you create a card 4 block or whatever when upgraded. So guards used to be like you change 5 cards, you get an extra 20 block, and then you have like another 30 block from the guards that you just created. So now it's you get an extra 7 block, and then it's just the block from the guards you created. This is a pretty big guards nerf. It's also a pretty big nerf to Crash Landing, but I feel like it's less of a Crash Landing nerf, because Crash Landing's kind of an offensive card, and Crash Landing's still like a big part of when you play Crash Landing is if you have a arsenal, you know, and you get a bunch of strength out of it. I feel like this is more of a guards nerf than a pillar nerf, but it does nerf the character, card creation stuff in general. So it's something to keep in mind. Collision Course. This probably just nerfing Collision Course because the early game, like 11 damage, 7 block. It's a lot of block. That's a 0 cost, 11 damage, 7 block. It's kind of crazy. I think Collision Course still feels strong at 10. I'll probably take it in... you don't need to repeat card creation. I don't know if I'm taking Collision Course as often as before, but it's still a really solid damage common, I think. Reworked Eidolon. This is one of the coolest changes. Exhaust your hand if 9 cards were exhausted this way. Gain 1 intangible. I've never used Eidolon and gotten the second effect of Eidolon. I've only used Eidolon to just exhaust withers, but maybe that means something bad about me. But it's changed to play all ethereal cards in your exhaust pile. Exhaust. This is a very fun card. I'm super excited to play with this. I love big cards like this that just do a bunch of stuff. This might be a little crazy with like cards like Call of the Void or whatever, the card that gives you just a bunch of ethereal cards for free. But overall, I'm really happy to see this Eidolon change. I feel like the exhaust your hand doesn't really matter because you still have stuff like Cleanse and Seance. Like, it's not exhausting in your hand, which is kind of a big deal, but like I don't think I'm missing old Eidolon. They buffed Hyper Beam, they buffed Sunder. I don't think Sunder needed a buff. I don't think they needed to buff Splash. I'm not gonna say they buffed Hyper Beam, because you never play Hyper Beam on Defect. You only take Hyper Beam from like Ouroboros or the the event that lets you get cards from another class, or it's just something you sometimes get from Splash. I don't know. They would have to, I think, for them to make Hyper Beam pickable on Defect, they need to change the downside of Hyper Beam. And I probably, like, you can drop this if you make the downside manageable, you could drop the damage down to like 21 or something. Like you can drop this damage very low if the damage is actually manageable. Cuz like in the first game, you had things like pellets and artifact. Like there were ways, and like focus wasn't that, like all focus was permanent, right? You just got focus. So like losing focus is so big on the Defect for what he's doing now that I don't think you're taking Hyper Beam. Even if it just like 38 damage probably just kills the Decimillipede. Like it's pretty close. But they could rework the downside of Hyper Beam instead of just keeping buffing the number and buffing Splash, you know? Trash to Treasure nerf is pretty significant. Innate is an insane keyword. And the cost doesn't matter because you're not even paying one most of the time, because Defect has that one power that whenever you play a power you gain energy. So the cost on Trash to Treasure doesn't matter too much. Innate was the craziest thing that it could say. That's a little unfortunate. I think this is still strong. It's probably a reasonable nerf as well. Trash to Treasure just generates a bunch of plasma and frost, just kind of for free, and you just build a bunch of status effects. So this is probably deserved. Maybe you're getting too much value on your first cycle and just ending most of your fights. Tutor. Whenever another player chooses a card in their draw pile to add into their hand. Hey, could I get a flanking? Thank you very much. I haven't played multiplayer with this card yet, but I'm so excited to just ring up my friend. Hey, could I get a flanking this turn? Thank you. That sounds very fun. This is kind of like a wish, right? But for another player. It seems fair. Midnight nerf. This is deserved. Midnight was able to, you can get Midnight through Splash. You can get Midnight through attack pots. You can get Midnight through Discovery. So often you just like use an attack pot and you're like, wow, that says 100. That says 100 damage. That says 99 damage. I think Midnight, this is like reasonable. Like this is close enough to Barry from the Necrobinder that I'm like, okay, that's fair. So I think the Midnight nerf is good. Even outside of just like getting Midnight for free from an attack pod or something, you can also just like, Ironclad has a ton of cards to play Midnight for free. And like 12 is such a reasonable number for Midnight to cost. That you can kind of just exhaust a couple cards and like your friend just plays shivs or something, and you get Midnight for free. And this is just free 60 damage whenever you see it. The ball nerf is probably reasonable. I kind of dislike seeing it, but I think it's probably reasonable. I had a nice ball run with a couple of my friends. We did, big 100 damage balls. But I think that a big part of the ball is it's fun. A big funny number, I'll have to play with it at like 10 to 15. But like any of these scaling cards, because it doesn't go in your discard pile and it goes into their draw pile, this actually scales a lot faster than all the other scaling cards. Like this scales faster than like Kingly Punch and like Rampage so significantly. And like Kingly Punch and Rampage are both uncommon cards already. So the ball nerf is probably reasonable. I'm just a little sad to see it. Blade Symphony card cost increased and no longer increases shiv count. This is a pretty significant nerf. Blade Symphony was such a strong card that you could kind of just take it in duos and you'd be like, wow, that's like 6 shivs for 1 energy. And now it's just kind of a blade dance in duos, except your friends don't have your stuff. I'm probably not taking it as often in duos, and it's probably just like a 3 or 4 player card. It's kind of what it looks like to me. It'd be interesting if it had like a unique, like I think if both players got 3, both players getting 3's too much. I don't know. Because of the numbers on it and how it works, it's kind of hard to say how many. This is fair. This is a completely justifiable change to Blade Symphony. I'm just a little bit salty because I mostly play duos, and I don't think it's good in duos anymore. Well, I mostly play single player and then I play duos. And then I don't really care about the user experience and interface. But that's all the changes that I really wanted to cover. Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure playing with all of you today, and I'll see you all next time.